All right, Sawdust Startups, welcome, welcome. Today I'm going to go over logo design and all other things revolving graphic design that makes it super, super easy for all of you guys to do so without paying for a platform. And seriously, the easiest, simplest platform that you can use. And I'm going to show you exactly how to use it. Today, I'm just going to go over the simples and the basics. If there's any other complex questions or things like that, feel free to shoot me a message and I'll be sure to help you out along the way. But for this, we are going to be using Canva. Now, Canva is a free platform. They do have an upgraded version that you can use. I'm going to dive into that in a little bit. They do have a 2-week free trial. I'm going to dive into that in a little bit, like I just said, but just sign up for the free version. When you go to canva.com, it's going to ask you to create an account. Just use an email that you have. You can use your business email that you made or just your personal email. It doesn't matter. So once you're on here, there's a lot of options. There's a lot of things to do. So what we're going to do, just because we're on logo design specifically, we're going to go up to create a design. Now there's lots of options. Now what all of this is essentially it's your canvas of where you want your image or graphic to go, right? Like if you want to create an Instagram post, it hooks you up with the correct sizing so you can make it, and then when you put it on Instagram, it looks the same way it did in this, right? Just so it's all the same size. Right, you can create a YouTube thumbnail, you can do a Facebook post, Instagram story, an Instagram reel. This is also a video editing platform. I don't recommend using it as one. I will get into that in a later module, but for now, I would just use this for graphic design specifically. You can also do your Facebook cover. So for your Facebook business page, the cover on the top, this has the correct size, so you can make it in here and then put it right up on your cover on your Facebook profile, and it'll look nice and clean. There's also custom size in some scenarios, especially in like website creation and things like that. They'll recommend that an image is a certain size, and that's where this comes into play. So you can come in, do a custom width, a custom height by pixels, inches, millimeters, centimeters, that kind of thing. But for this purpose, we're going to do logo, since we're talking about logo design and creating a logo. So I'm just going to click on logo. Now, this is essentially your canvas, right? Right now it's blank because I didn't do anything to it. But first thing you should do, what I recommend, is right up here, you can name it. So for this instance, I'm just going to make my name Soda Woodworks. It's not a real thing, but I'm just making it for this example. So I'm just going to name it. Cool. Now, there's lots of things you could do here. There's lots of options. I think what's really nice about this platform is all of the elements and graphics that they have readily available, so you don't have to actually design it yourself. You know what I mean? So on the left side here, Right Design, since we click logo, it's giving us a bunch of logo recommendations already, which is cool. So you can come down here. You can see all different types of options and styles that you want to pick from. You don't have to pick from one of these, but if you want to, you can. If you really like one and you want to kind of jump off of that, you absolutely can. You can change all these things, all the fonts, all the text, you can change all of it. So just be aware of that. If you like one of these, but you want to change a little thing, you absolutely can. Take this for inspiration, that kind of thing. Next on this list here, we have elements. Now this is the world is your oyster at this point with the elements. There's things like shapes, there's graphics, there's circles. Like I was in here looking already. There's all different types of things. Like if I want to look up like saw, okay, they have a bunch of graphics, they have photos, they have videos, but I just want to go to graphics here. I know everybody loves to put saw blades in their logos. They have those here. So you can just dive in, look around here. Now, the one thing I want you to point out, or I want to point out here, is there's this little crown on some of them, and that requires Canva Pro in order to use. And if not, it's going to charge you $1 for every graphic that you use that has the Pro logo. So what I would recommend is get the free trial for Canva. It's a 2-week free trial. You have to give them your card. They won't charge you until the 2 weeks. So I've actually done this plenty of times. I've used the Canva trial probably 10 times with the same email account. They keep giving it to me, so I kept using it. I pay for it now, but I would definitely recommend getting the 2-week free trial, especially for your logo design phase, so you can take advantage of all of the beautiful things that Canva Pro gives you. And I'm going to get into that a little more when we go to the exporting area. but you don't have to pay for it. Just get the trial, put it in your calendar, and say, okay, Canva Pro ends this day. It's only like $18, I believe. Just Canva Pro ends this day, and cancel it beforehand so it doesn't charge you. And I would recommend that just for your logo specifically. So below there, below elements, there's text. So if you want to add text and things like that, and then there's uploads. So this is a bunch of different things of, just things I've been working on previously. But this in the upload section is any type of image or anything that you have on your phone or on the computer that you want to download. You can import it into here. Like this is a picture of Matt I used for a thumbnail. I can just drag him in and no worries, right? So that's what that's all for. You can draw things, which I'm really bad at drawing, so I don't really partake in that. But for example, I'm just going to go through and create a quick logo for you guys just to show you how everything works. Now, this isn't going to be perfect. This is just for demonstration purposes. So let's say you want to add some text. You want your name in there, right? You can add a text box right here. I'm going to say Sodal Woodworks just for this. Okay. So Sodal Woodworks. I don't like the font. I don't like the size. Beautiful thing. You can change all that. So I'm going to come up here. This right here, Canvas Sans, this is the font. Just for this example, I'm going to use Georgia Pro just because it's simple. But there's hundreds of different fonts here that you can look into. A lot of them are the Pro version. That's why I recommend getting the trial, because you can really open up a world of possibilities here. There's tons of different fonts. Right next to that, there's size, so you can go up or down. The plus is for up, the minus is for down, obviously. And then right next to that, this is text color. So any of these simple colors here, there's also the entire color wheel here. Or if you know your hex number, you can also input that there. It'll give you your color. You can bold the font, unbold it. You can italicize it. You can underline it. You can put a stripe through it. And then this is all uppercase. I'm going to go back to what it was. And then this is alignment, adding bullet points, line spacing, effects, things like that. I'll dive into that in a little. But just for this purpose, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to do this. All right. I actually want this bolded, so I can highlight this. I can bold it. I think what I want to do is I kind of want to make it blocky a little bit, right? So I want my last name Sodal here to be bigger than the Woodworks itself. So what I can do is I can highlight this specifically, and then all the effects I do will just impact the letters that are highlighted. So I want that to be a little bigger. So I'm just going to press up and see the Woodwork stays the same. The Sodal gets bigger. All right, and then I can always, down here on the bottom, I can zoom in just to make sure I'm looking at things properly and it looks good. Cool. Now, I don't like how there's that big gap there. So that's what this line spacing is. I can come up to line spacing. I can just adjust it with this slider here. Let's say that looks pretty good. Okay, cool. Now, I have this block here, which is my text. And the beautiful thing about this is I can take this and see how there's these lines that pop up. Those are centering lines. So now I know this whole block of text is completely dead center in the middle of my entire canvas, which is what you want. So I put that right in the middle. And now let's say I want a little border around it. I can come up to elements. I can look at all these things. I can get really creative here. I'm not going to do too much just because this is a tutorial. But let's say I want a circle. I actually looked for it already, but I'm going to type in hollow circle. And then graphics, I can see all, just because I want a circle. There's a thicker one. I kind of like the thin one, but maybe we'll go with this one. No. But okay, so this came in. I don't like it. I can just hit the trash can to delete it. I want the thinner one. Okay, that looks good to me. Now, say I want to add some other graphics and things like that. I'll come back up here. There was one I liked earlier. Go to saw again. Graphics. And then I like this one a lot. So I'm going to put this in here. I'm going to make this a little smaller just by grabbing these corners here. I can make this a little smaller, and then I can adjust this and move it. See, it snaps into the center there. Let's say that looks good. I actually want to make this a little bit smaller. Okay. Make that center again. And then when I have this selected, you see up here, I can change the color of it. Say I want it red. Say I want it yellow. I want to keep it black because I think it looks clean. And then let's say I want to put established in 2024 in the bottom, or any other text. I had to come back, add a new text box. I'm going to put established 2024. And then if I don't want to adjust by the size itself, I can also take this, make it smaller. And then there's a little moving icon down here. I can drop this under here. Let's say right like that. Make this a little smaller because I don't think it needs to be that big. We'll say there, maybe a little smaller. Say there, and I kind of want it to be a little bit of a different color. So we're going to go to text color. I'm going to come up here. I just want it to be a little lighter, a little grayer. Okay, that looks good. Now, I recommend doing shadows on your text. That's just me personally. So I'm going to click on this text here, and I want a shadow on it. So I'm going to come up to Effects, and then there's shadow, there's outline, there's lift, there's glow, all types of stuff here. I'm going to go to shadow. As you can see, it already added that gray shadow to it. So the transparency is how thick you want it to be. Just dark is a little aggressive. We're going to drop that down a little bit. How blurry you want it to be. We'll say that looks kind of good. This changes the direction. If you want it to be up above, down below, to the left, you get the point. Kind of jump in there. The offset is how far away it is. So if I come all the way out here, it's farther away. If I come in here, it's really close. We're going to keep that somewhere around there. I think that looks good. Now, let's say, just for examples here, let's say you want your design to be white. Let's say you don't want a black logo. Maybe you want it to be white. Not an issue. Now, what you can do here is, since everything's black, if I were to change it, since the background is white, if I were to change all of my elements in here to white, you won't see it, which doesn't really help you out. So I'm going to change everything to white, right? We're going to change this circle color. We're going to come up here, make it white. Turn this up here, make it white. Take my text. We're going to make it white. We're going to take this, and then we're going to make it white. So now everything's white. Now I can click on this back canvas here. I can click on that, and then I can change the color of that. So I can make this black, and now I can see everything, right? I can make this pretty much any color just to see, what I'm looking at. I normally like to keep it white just to make it nice if I'm not designing something that is white. But since I do want this to be a black logo, I'm going to change that all. So let's make that black again. There. Right here. Back up here. Make that black again. And then I'm going to make the whole background white. Okay. While I was editing this video to upload, there's one other thing I wanted to mention. So in some scenarios, what's going to happen is, if say I want a border around the background of this, I can come to here. Let's say I want this saw blade in the background. You see how it's in front of everything and I can't see it? What I can do is, I'm just going to make this gray just so we can see it. Okay, since it's black, it works. But let's say, for example, this is in front of this text and you want it behind it, obviously, right? So I'm going to click on this again, and then if I go up to position and then I go backward, it's going to push it to the back. Or if it's not quite behind it yet, go back again, and now it's behind everything. So I just wanted to throw that in there in case you're throwing things on and things get on top of each other and you don't know how to put it behind it or in front of it. That's what this position is for. And then there's also the transparency here where you can, drop it down if you want to see through something a little bit. That's always there as well. I just wanted to get that across while I was going through that. I thought that was important to mention. So I'm going to jump back into where we were before, right back into exporting. Let's say I'm done here. I love this logo. This is my dream logo. I'm good. I'm set in stone. Now it's time to export. So you're going to want to export 2 different times at least. Now, to export it, you're going to come up to Share, and then you're going to come down to Download. And then for the first one, you're going to want to export it as a PNG. Now, this is just a good image to have. You can save this on your phone, anything like that. This is a good place to start. Now, again, you're going to need the Canva Pro in order to export this as a transparent background. Now, when I export it as a transparent background, all this white is not going to be there. It's just going to be the black logo, right? So I'm going to do transparent background as PNG, keep the size the same, everything looks good. I'm going to hit download, and there you go. It's downloaded. I'm going to bring that up for you here. Let's do this. And there you go. See, it's completely transparent. It just has all the black and all the text I have, which is awesome. Now, I'm sure some of you have seen us talking about vectors in the community a little bit. Now, a vector is a fancy word for this image here. When we exported it as the .png file, which is right here, when we export it as that, if we want it to be bigger, right? If it's on screen, if it's this big, but on the screen we want it to be this big, it'll get pixelated and it won't look very good. So what a vector does is it exports it in such a way where no matter how big you make the image or how small you make the image, it's going to be crystal clear no matter what. So this is very important. You're going to want this for your website, and for all other design aspects, you're going to want to make sure you have this in your back pocket. Save it in a safe space. Put it somewhere. You're not going to lose it in your computer or wherever the scenario is. But in order to do that, you're going to come back up to Share, go to Download, and then go to SVG. So that stands for Standard Vector, something with a G. I don't know what that is, but Standard Vector, that's the keyword, SVG. And you need Canva Pro to do this as well. Remember, just get the trial and delete it when you're done with this, and make sure you cancel your trial. They will not charge you. You can do this all for free. And then you want to hit transparent background, and then you're going to hit download. All right, and it's downloaded, and see, it comes up as like a link, right? So what you're going to do is, if you look at this, if I zoom into it, it's still clear. If I zoom out, it's still clear, and that's what you want. So that's pretty much it on Canva. Remember, get creative. In my recommendation, most of the time, if it's simple, it's better, because then you can really take it from there. If it's too complicated and you start doing different designs, sometimes it doesn't look that well, or it's hard to get a brand for it. If you want to start wood burning your logo onto your project, sometimes it gets complicated. So I recommend going simple, make it easy. Remember, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. And remember to cancel your free trial so you don't get charged. That's all. If you have any questions, feel free, reach out to me. I'll see you guys in the next one. I hope this taught you a little something. So, talk to you guys later.